70% of the things that you're afraid of, 70% of the things that you think will happen in your life, that you worry about or you're so concerned about, will never happen. And I can tell you a little secret: broken vessels do not help broken vessels. If you want to do something, get fixed.
Amen.
You can't mix your life and sin and think you're helping things. You're not helping anything.
There it is.
You're fooling yourself. The best place that you can be is as close to God as you can get. If you have a marriage that's failing, the best place that at least one of you can get is as close to God as you can get.
Thank you, Lord.
It's better if both of you do. If you have problems going on in your life, the best place, and I see these people that they mix sin with their life and they think nobody knows, and I can just go on and it'll be all right because eventually we'll straighten it out.
Yeah, it's always going to straighten it out.
That's right. You're an idiot. Real close to a bad driver. You can fatally talk yourself into hell. It's amazing. You can take people with you. If you want to function, you have to get fixed. And I don't know about you, but I'm still being fixed.
Amen.
You have to get fixed. I always wanted God to fix my wife. That is fixing me. And the very thing that is bothering you the worst is what he'll fix you with. That's what really aggravates you. Because if it's aggravating, I just want to get rid of it. But it agitates me to the place I have to really pray. I mean, I always pray, but I have to really pray sometimes. And that's when I really make some headway with the Lord. If you turn with me in the book of Matthew, chapter 27, I just want to read a couple verses this morning. I told you all that to tell you, I hate to go get in front of people and all that stuff. And so all the time I'm thinking about convention. I got to go down there. I got to get up on the front, sit down and look at everybody out there. I got to be in charge of this. I got to do that. Then they wanted me to help take up offerings and count the money and on and on and on and on. All of these things, you know. And I got down there. I didn't have to even go up in front. I didn't have to do one thing. I just sat there. Thank God. Oh God, you're so good. Lord. All the things you're worried about never came to pass. I could have had a lot better time if I hadn't went down there frustrated.
It's a good thing because you only took one suit. Don't forget to leave that out. You only took one suit, too.
I didn't even take all my clothes like I was supposed to. Oh well. It's all right. It worked out wonderful, and I am so glad. In the 27th chapter of the book of Matthew, which is page 1240, if your Bible is in this one, reading verse 9, then was fulfilled that which was spoken by Jeremiah, it's Jeremy, but it means Jeremiah the prophet, saying, and they took the 30 pieces of silver, the price of him that was valued, whom they of the children of Israel did value, and gave them for the potter's field, as the Lord appointed me. Father, bless us and help us. Move supernaturally right now. Cause us to gain ground this morning. As we sit at your table, very humbly we would ask you, if you break the bread of life and feed us our part of portion in Jesus' name, and everyone said, Amen. Or something or other close to that. Let me read out of Zechariah just for a moment, chapter 11. I just want read a few verses right here. This is a prophecy hundreds of years before. And I said unto them, if you think good, give me my price, and if not, forbear. So they weighed for my price 30 pieces of silver. And the Lord said unto me, cast it into the potter, a goodly price, that I was prized of them. And I took the 30 pieces of silver and cast them to the potter in the house of the Lord. Then I cut asunder my staff. God is speaking. I'm not going to read the rest of that. I'm just going to tell you the story. Let me tell you, first of all, going back to Matthew, and let me talk about Judas just for a little bit. Because Judas made a mistake that a lot of us have made. This was a fatal one because he received it fatal. he did not believe that they would condemn Jesus to death. He believed they would punish him, correct him, and send him back out. But when he saw the Sanhedrin court was going to kill him, the Bible said he brought the money back. This was more than I bargained for. This is not what I had thought. Sin had already taken him far, far more further than he'd wanted to go. And they said, we can't take that money back. Receive it into yourself. The Bible said that he threw it into the sanctuary. But if you actually look it up, he did not throw it in the sanctuary. There was a small wall there. It was about 1.5 feet high that you could step over. If you stepped over that unclean, you died. According to the Jews, they would take you out and stone you. And so he took that money and cast it over that. The actual word there translated shows you that it had to be across that wall. He cast it at their feet. And he told them that his conscience was bothering him for what he had done. And they said, see thou unto it. You see about that. That's your conscience. That doesn't bother us. That had nothing to do with that. Now they had hired him to do a job that he did that brought that conscience. But do we actually think that the people that sin with us will sympathize with us? Do you think those that sin with us will sympathize with it?
No.
When we get caught? No. See to it yourself. It's every man for himself, and if that will turn you in, if they can get away. There's no honor among thieves, is there? But let me tell you a story. Because it was already prophesied, and God said this was his desire, and 30 pieces of silver was what he required, which was the price of a slave. And when he said I broke the band of beauty, it was his son. He was talking about his son that he was giving. And so Zechariah, now he quotes Jeremiah, but he says I'm quoting Jeremiah, but he actually quotes Zechariah. He's quoting a different preacher, word for word. And so we might not think that was enough price, but that's what he asked for. You know why? Because it had nothing to do with the money. What I want to preach has nothing to do with that whole story, except for this. The Bible said they could not receive that money because it was blood money. And because it was blood money, they said, we cannot put this in the treasury. They would have loved to put that in the treasury. But they couldn't put it in the treasury because it was blood money, and so they said, buy the potter's field with that money. Now the potter's field was a place where they dug clay, and where they throw all the broken clay artifacts. You get a bowl and it broke, you threw it out in the potter's field. So it's full of broken vessels and holes where they're digging clay. I don't know if you know what you're made of. Clay. Well, we're made out of clay. He formed and fashioned us out of the dirt of the earth. And if you look up that dirt, it was clay. So we're made out of something dirty. And then we're made a vessel. And if we're going to be a vessel of use, then it has to be in the shape and in the figure of he that will use it. Now, I had great grander thoughts of what God could make me into, but that's not the way it had me to be. I better not go into that. You know, because there's different sizes of vessels, different shapes of vessels, and I could get... I want to remind you of Ezekiel, chapter 37, and starting with verse 1 through verse 9, where the Bible said that he showed Ezekiel a valley full of bones. And not only was this valley full of bones, but these bones were scattered. They were not even together anymore. And he said, can these bones live? And Ezekiel thought, why are you asking me? God, you're asking me if these bones can live? And so he, and God said, well, prophesy to those bones. And this is what you will prophesy. He didn't just say prophesy to the bones and you come up with a prophecy. Well, let's see. Okay, I'm going to speak to these bones. He said, say this unto the bones, that I will cause you to come
Mhm.
together. And I will cause sinners to come upon you and skin, and I will breathe into your life. And so Ezekiel is actually saying what God told him to say. And the bones begin to rattle, and the bone that belonged over here came together, and took shape, and the carcass stood up, the skeleton. And then the flesh came. Now, I have to have a little fun with this area. All of the great book writers, these intelligent, bad drivers, always say, when it talks about the flesh coming off of a person instantly, that has to be an atomic bomb. Well, wait a minute. He just brought the flesh on a whole army of bones. Was it an atomic bomb, or was it just God? God doesn't need some goofy thing to do what he wants done. They said it was the wind that split the Red Sea so the children of Israel could cross across. I'll tell you what it was. God says stand, and it stood.
Yes.
If God says lay flat, it lays flat. If he says jump up and down, it jumps up and down. It obeys him. A marvelous thing if you realize he doesn't need an atomic bomb. He doesn't need an army of men. He doesn't need anything.
Hallelujah.
In the 6-day war of Israel, when the Egyptians came, and there was no way the Israelites could have overwhelmed them, bees came out of the forest. Swarms of yellow jackets and hornets.
Yep.
And drove the armies of Egypt away. That was in 1967. That wasn't in Bible times, any.
Yeah.
That was lately.
Yeah.
Now, you wonder what that has to do with anything, but let me tell you about the potter's field, because that's what I want to preach on if I can. The potter's field. It's that place where I don't know where he found you, but he found me in the potter's field, the broken vessel. See, I was already made. God didn't make me. He remade me.
Amen.
Where did the potter's field actually start, and where did it begin? Was in Babylon. At the Tower of Babel, when God separated all mankind and he chose one nation, Israel. All the rest then became Gentile, were separate. And so Ezekiel tells you the promise of Israel. Ezekiel said, there weren't Gentile bones laying out there, honey. They were Jewish bones. The chosen people of God. And God prophesied to them. He said, I will raise you back up. And I'll put sinew back upon you, and I'll put skin upon that, and I will put a brain inside of you, and I'll breathe the breath of life in you, and you shall become a living person. Rebirth, the rebirth of Israel. But where did it happen with the potter's field? You see, in the Old Testament, he said, I've already bought it. I paid 30 pieces of silver for it. You will go through the actions of it, but it's already spoken, and the mind of God has already thought it, and his mouth has already said it, and it will come to pass just like God said. And so Judas has no idea that the plan that he's carrying out was actually the plan of God. The devil has no idea that killing Christ was actually the plan of God. Nobody understands that they're actually doing what God said. And so he's purchasing the potter's field. So that now he has the right to go down amongst the broken. He could have said, let's don't fool around with the broken vessels. We've got plenty of clay, let's make new vessels. It's easier to make new than it is to rebuild the old. I can tell you. Quickly he could form. Quickly he could breathe breath. Life would come. And a brand new creature arise and stand, but he said, no. No, the part of the potter's field that he's making new vessels, but he's also rebuilding old vessels.
That's right.
Hallelujah.
Let me tell you the best testimony that you can have. The best testimony that you can have. I never went out into the world. I was born and raised in the house of God. I've loved God all of my life. That's the best. The best testimony is that I was a this and I was a that and I was a mean guy and I did this and I did that. And I could drink more beers than the guy next to me and I could shoot more stuff in my arm than anybody else. I could take more pills and still walk. And that's not a good testimony. And I'll tell you what a good testimony is. I've loved God all my life.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I was born and raised in the house of God. That is the best testimony you can have.
There it is. Yeah.
But what about the broken vessels? You see, he can make new vessels all the time, and he makes new vessels. There are good ones out there. Yeah.
Amen.
But I want to tell you about the broken vessels because I know about you. I was one of them that he found. He didn't come down to just make me, he came down to remake me.
Hallelujah.
And he gathered up the pieces and used to say that they scattered me all over. Sin is scattered to parts. It not only broke the vessel, but the bones are not together. The head is over there, and the carcass is over there, and the rib is over there, and the arm bone is over there. And the Bible said in Ezekiel that they just started coming together. So the body arose. So we do not understand that God has the same program for the Gentiles. That the old vessel's laying there, here's the part of it, and there's a part of it over there, and there's a part of it over there, and a part of it over there, and it's mixed with all of the vessels. And it would drive anybody nuts if they tried to put that puzzle together. If you tried to find that main part, and then you tried to find the little piece that fit there, amongst all the other pieces that God spoke, He just spoke and it came. And the pieces began to come. And as they come, and it formed the vessel again. Is that a marvelous name?
Yes. Hallelujah.
And as he formed that vessel, out of the potter's feet comes an army of Christ, a marvelous army. My dad said in World War II when he was drafted, and one of the things I liked that he said he got a letter and it said, "You are drafted, your friends and neighbors have chosen you." And he said, "What kind of friends would do that?" But he said the instructor that he had was a World War I veteran. And what they had got was they had got instructors that had fought in actual combat. Because they didn't want some graduate out of college that had never fought on the battlefield to try to train men and tell them what you're going to go into if you've never seen it. How can you tell about it? So let me tell you about these broken vessels. These vessels at one time were in shattered pieces and that he has put them together. And you can't even see the seams where he stuck them together because he is such a tremendous potter. But they've been in the battle and they've seen what sin can do. There is a group that has never seen what sin can do. And I'm not going to try to tell you I'm no expert at it, but I got highly involved with it. But when he puts you together, you see you can train because you know what exactly that sin will do in this area or that area because it did it to you.
Yes, amen.
You were in the war, you were on the front line, and you got shattered into pieces. And now he's putting you back together to be an army that can walk out and say, guess what? Guess what? You may fall on the battlefield, but honey, God can put you back together. You may have a crack or two, but I want to tell you, God can seam you up.
Thank you, Lord. Hallelujah.
They have this spray. I went to watch these guys that give these advertisements on spray. They had this spray, and the spray was to seal off all leaks and things. And so one of the things they do is they take a boat with a screen in the bottom of it, and they shoot the screen with this stuff, and they put it in the water. Then it floats, and the water comes up through there, I guess. I don't know. They showed in the deal. You can squirt your gutters up there. Instead of fixing it right, you just take this stuff and seam it all up. And it's supposed to, it's guaranteed. I mean, that or your money back. Okay. But I want to tell you about a real guarantee that God gives you. God said, if I put a people together and I give them a purpose and a plan, then you see that vessel doesn't have to worry about the other vessels and the cracks that he's fixing in this vessel and that vessel and all the things that work around me. All I have to worry about is that part. And can I tell you something? If you're on the front line and you realize that the enemy is just putting together a whole bunch of people out there and they're going to attack. So you look at your brothers and sisters around you and you say, take all your machine guns and all of your ammunition and stuff and go about a mile that way. And you take all yours and go a mile that way. I'm facing this all by myself. No, probably not. You say, get as close as you can get. No.
That's right.
Amen.
Why isn't the saints scatter? Why do we scatter? If you ever watch any, you need to watch. I like National Geographic, but also Discovery Channel has a lot of them. And the lion goes out, and those little woolly things, You know, they run, they're little bitty things, they're little deer is what they are. And they leap and leap, and they weigh about 50, 60, 70 pounds. And the lion does not attack the main body. He picks out one,
Yeah.
and he heads after it. And it separates itself from the body. If all of those little creatures would just stop and turn and look right at it, I see you, Claude. I truly see you. They could stare the lion down. The lion would know what to do. But they run. Which, anybody that knows anything knows that that excites a cat. It excites the devil too, in case you need to know that. But then they separate, and he just keeps his eye on that one. He's after that one. He's not after any other one, that one. Another one could be right closer, but he's after that one. And then he catches him. And I always click the channel because I don't want to see it. But what I want to tell you is, when God puts this army together, we don't fight the battle. We're just the vessel. God was not expecting Gideon to attack, 300 to 1 and win. He was expecting to work on Gideon's behalf if Gideon behaved himself and did what God said. And because Gideon did exactly what God said, the 300 men won. Many of the times you read in the Bible that Israel didn't use their sword, God just won for them.
Yes.
And he turned the enemy against the enemy and they killed one another.
That's right.
And a lot of times if you hold your peace and let God fight your battle, you'll find out your enemies are killing themselves.
Amen.
Yeah, I'm going to kill you here.
Yes.
But we get frustrated because we try to help God. And we try to hurry it up. One of my main problems is I try to get things done. And sometimes you try to get things done and you get ahead of God. And when you get ahead of God, it's a lot of work. I don't know if you've seen the commercials. That one commercial, when your TV goes out, you're bored, and so you look out the window and you see some people putting a body in the car. And because you see them put a body in the car, they come after you. And you go through all that. Better to just get direct TV to begin with. That way you won't be looking out the window and see that. Well, I wish we could get that in the house of God. Better to keep the vision of God. Better to keep the power of God. Better to walk in that structure where He's moving than it is to get out amongst all the other things. And being a Christian is not just saying it. It's not just reading about it. It's giving your life over to God and then living that life with God. Joining a body. You could be born a finger. Did you know when you get saved, actually what actually happens? A lot of us don't know. When you get saved, you actually just make God the head. You make Him the head. If He's the head, then He puts you on the body where He wants you. You don't tell Him, oh God, I want to be a belly navel. So that wouldn't have been your first choice. Well, I have no idea what would be your first. Maybe you want to be an eye or an ear or a mouth or those types of things. You want to be the mouth. But anyway, He may make you a toe. He's the head. You made Him the head, didn't you? Then He says, you're a toe. But God, I'm going to be under a sock. I'm going to be under a shoe. I'm going to be, Then nobody going to see me very often. Even if you paint me, I won't look good. Some of you will get this later. I wanted to be something that was seen. So it makes you a hair and you fall out. But He puts you. You don't tell Him, well, I know what I'm going to be. No. He knows what you're going to be. He reveals that to you.
Amen.
But the beautiful part about it, no matter where he puts you, no matter what he puts you doing, he will not only make you function good, but he'll make you a valuable part of the body.
Yes, yes.
But then you have to serve the body.
Amen.
Let me preach just a minute about selfishness. Selfishness usually destroys just about everything that it gets a hold of.
Sure does.
Because one of the greatest signs to know that you're a Christian, to really know that you're born again, is because all at once you want to do something for somebody else. Maybe somebody that you've never seen. Maybe they will never know that you did it. I'm amazed at how church functions sometimes. And you have to brag on people. And I've seen several things at convention, and I've seen them before, but I've seen where I've missed my, my God, I've been praying for you. You never know how much I've fasted and prayed, my God, hours and hours, days, Well, who are you building up, God or you?
That's right.
I've seen the pastor, oh my God, you were missing last week and we were so worried about you. We didn't call, but we were worried anyway. You know, who are you building up?
Right.
Minister friend, and they beg people to the altar. My God, did you hear that? Oh, God loves you so much. Don't you think that you should be at the altar? Can I get you down to the altar? I pray with you, my God. You can beg him to the altar, honey, but you can't get him saved. That's the Spirit of God is drawn them away from the time.
Hallelujah.
See, the vessel's job is to produce God. If you produce him, he does all the rest. He can give his own altar call. He can heal the sick. He can raise the dead. He can do all manner of things. But you have to produce him.
Hallelujah.
He said, when 2 or 3 vessels are gathered together, there am I in the midst of them. What do you think he came for? Not so you can know how much I fast and pray. Not so you can figure out how intelligent I am in the Word. Not so you can find out what a great guy I am. So you can hear. He said, if I be lifted up. So when the church puts lifting up other things, lift up him. Lift up him. What did it say in that Old Testament scripture I read to you? And he said, in that day, I shall break. Oh God. His own son. So that he would have the right and the privilege to one day come to the potter's field and find you broken and destroyed and separated, and grab the pieces and stick them back together, and then take a mirror and say, honey, look at me. Look at my work. He said, whoa, I don't even see where the crack was. I don't even see where you put the seam.
Hallelujah.
So instead of bragging on the vessel, he wants me to brag on him. He's not interested. We've got so many people doing their own thing. And if the right leg wants to go here, and the left leg wants to go there, the right eye wants to look here, and the left eye wants to look there, the right nose wants no. My body, is not. How can I go in a direction if I'm looking like this? I try to get my eyes in the front there where I'm looking. I expect them to go where I want, and then help me so I don't stumble over something. See, God is directing a body, and you have to be directable. You have to be usable.
Hallelujah.
You have to be. See, He's the master. He's the master. He purchased the field so that He might rebuild us. He's in the process of rebuilding us. And in that process, He will use us. But why do we get downhearted? Just because it's not going the way. Do you think everything goes the way I want it to? I wish you could have my shoes for a day.
Yeah, yeah, right.
I always loved that old saying, you never judge a person until you walk in their moccasins for a mile. The Italian said, give me your shoes so I can walk in them to their enemy. Give me your shoes so I can walk in them for a mile. Because then if you catch me, you're barefooted and I can run.
Oops, cancel Christmas.
Well, I know it's catchy, but realize what God is doing. Allow God to do it, and while He's doing it, He will use you. And in the process of that, right in the process of that, don't start looking around you and think everything has to change because I have.
Ooh.
Whoa, that's good.
Thank you, Jesus.
They're not in the same place. Maybe He's still pulling the pieces from different places. He's still calling them to
Hallelujah.
this vessel. Maybe this vessel's together and you can't see the cracks, but He hasn't seamed it up yet.
Yeah.
Just because you can't see it.
Right.
So the circumstances around me do not have to change. I can function where God set me.
Yeah.
That's right.
I'm not finished. I'm not a finished product. He's still working on me.
Father.
And I'm usable. God, I want to be usable. I said to the Lord years ago, Lord, if you open the door, I will do my best
Hallelujah.
to do it. I'm not trying to open doors on my own. And that's why when they call me to do those things, I don't gripe. I gripe to Him a little. And to my wife. And to some other people sometimes. But I plan on doing the best I can do
Yes.
to do that. Because I told God, if you'll open the door, if I know it's you, you open the door,
Yes.
then I will do my best. I'm not trying to become anything. I've already become what I want to become. All I'm doing now is trying to let the finished product, the Christ-like, the thoughts of Christ, the mood of Christ, the desires of Christ, fill the vessel.
Hallelujah.
Stand with me this morning if you would.